So if you've been following my channel lately, you've probably seen that I haven't been uploading as much in terms of Season of Discovery or anything at all. And that's pretty much because I feel like for me PvP means a lot in the game, and I haven't really been motivated to play lately, mainly because the PvP scene is kind of bad in my opinion. The Blizzard or the devs' main concern has been to try to balance PvE, and the way they've been going about doing this is buffing weak classes. So they're looking at what classes are the best performing classes, and then we try to bring everything up to par with that. And in my opinion, it's not really the right approach, because what you end up doing is just making PvP so bursty that it's really unsatisfying and unfun to play. So, and already with all these new abilities, that should be enough. And then when they constantly introduce more buffs and buff these even further, and all the instant cast spells, like there's not much telegraphing going on in PvP, so this eliminates a lot of the strategic PvP gameplay there is in the game. And yeah, it's just demotivated me a lot, and I didn't really feel like playing a lot anymore. But now Blizzard has posted that they're actually looking into PvP. So, and I think this is great news. They write here, this coming weekend, we will test an adjustment to player versus player combat in Season of Discovery. We will implement a global damage reduction aura on PvP combat between players and player-controlled pets and other units. When we started Season of Discovery, we knew that PvP would become significantly more fast-paced and burst, with each class being capable of significantly more damage output, and this quickly proved to be true. We experimented with damage reduction aura in Battlegrounds during Phase 1. It didn't work as well as we've hoped, mostly because healing was scaling more aggressively than damage at this point. And I must say, I still prefer bursty PvP rather than like retail, where I don't know if it is this case anymore, but when I played retail, it was almost impossible to kill anyone, because it just felt like there was no impact on the damage that you were doing, because there was so much healing in the game. Everybody had some sort of self-healing, and so if I have to choose between two evils, then the lesser one would be more bursty PvP, but it still feels bad, right? But let's continue. Where was I? Healing was scaling more aggressively than damage at that point, causing healing to become significantly more oppressive in Battlegrounds than they normally would be. Now that we are in Phase 3, we've made many changes and added more runes, and burst damage has significantly outpaced healing output. So we feel that it's a good time to try this again. Damage scaling and its impact on PvP has always been a concern in World of Warcraft, even since original WoW. Various systems have been introduced to counteract this to varying levels of success. But ultimately, it always comes down to the fact that player damage outscales player health at a base level, and an adjustment is needed for combat between players to continue to feel satisfying as player power increases. We've been hesitant to introduce this as a permanent feature, and we prefer to give it a trial run this weekend to get an idea of how it feels before we take further steps. Please note, this aura will affect all areas of the game world, not just Battlegrounds, which is great, because PvP in Battlegrounds is not the only PvP in the game. I think in vanilla, the most exciting PvP is the world PvP. In every other expansion, you can skip world PvP by flying around. I think it's important that PvP outside of Battlegrounds is also considered. They write, we encourage you to get out in the worlds or in Battlegrounds and PvP the weekend and let us know how it feels. We're prepared to do some tuning to make it the most effective, so your feedback will be very helpful. We currently plan to enable an aura on all of Season of Discovery realms on Friday, April 26 at approximately 10 AM, and it will be disabled 4 days later during scheduled weekly maintenance in each region. We look forward to your feedback. I think in terms of balancing PvP, the best approach is reducing damage. A lot of people have been talking about, well, let's just buff health, but that's not the best solution, because if you buff health, and I've addressed this in a previous video, well, then you need to buff healing potions. The impact of healing potions, the impact of bandage, like it affects so many other aspects of the game. So it has a domino effect or a triple effect downward in every other aspect of the game. So I think nerfing or reducing damage in PvP is probably the best approach. And why, let's say healing gets out of hand, can't they just make an aura that reduces player healing in PvP? I don't know, that's probably a bit more tricky, but I think when it comes to bursty damage, and especially when it comes to healing, that should be interruptible. That should be something that's telegraphed, something that's cast, that has a long cast time, so that you have a chance to interrupt it. As soon as you implement a lot of instant cast healing or HOTS, stuff like that, that becomes extremely difficult to play around and counter. But that's just my opinion. I'm excited to see this change, and let's hope it helps out PvP.